So, hello everyone, and welcome to Smallcom. I hope you can see the screen share. So, if you're looking to enhance data quality and ensure privacy for your small language models, you're likely already familiar with the concept of synthetic data. So, I'm Maarten Van Segbroeck. I'm head of applied science at Gretel, and today I'll introduce you to the Gretel platform and demonstrate how effortlessly you can generate high quality data, synthetic data that you could use to train or fine-tune your small models. So AI machine learning teams often encounter a significant hurdle, the lack of access to high-quality training data, known as the data bottleneck. This issue spans various industries and is driven by factors such as data scarcity, poor data quality, and strict data privacy requirements. So additionally, challenges like missing or unlabeled data, maintaining compliance with regulations, data silos, and unwanted bias that could further slow down innovation. So these obstacles make it difficult to develop robust and task-specific models that are both cost-effective and scalable. To tackle these challenges, synthetic data is essential. And Gretel's platform generates synthetic data with the same statistical properties as real-world data. So you could use it to enhance your model performance while ensuring data privacy. So this helps you to overcome these data limitations efficiently. Gretel is the first synthetic data platform that is built for generative AI. So we support various data types, continuously benchmark our synthetic data against real data, and we were founded in 2020. We've launched multiple models with over 1 million SDK downloads and more than 160,000 users, trusted across different industries and enterprises. So I always like to show this slide here. This is Gartner predicting a few years ago that synthetic data will surpass real data in AI by 2030. And we're really seeing this trend driven by rising compliance costs, cybersecurity threats, privacy concerns, and the need for efficient data processing on devices. So emphasizing the importance of synthetic data for AI development. So this prediction of Gartner seems to be really happening. The trend is actually moving in that direction. So traditionally, AI teams have focused primarily on experimenting with model architectures, training hyperparameters, but with Gretel, you can now also experiment directly with your data. So this is a data-centric approach that allows you to for rapid iterations and improvements, as data experiments are increasingly driving significant innovation in AI. And by integrating data design, model training, evaluation, and iteration in this experimentation flywheel, Gretel empowers your team to accelerate AI development and achieve better outcomes. So let's dive into one of our key tools, which is Gretel Navigator. So what is Gretel Navigator? So Gretel Navigator is an agentic AI system or compound AI system that generates high quality synthetic data. It uses multiple agents and custom LLMs to overcome traditional limitations of these LLMs with an end-to-end pipeline, including data seeding, feedback loops, validation, and evaluation, all that is customizable to your specific needs to generate a data for your application you would like to build. So you can leverage Gretel Navigator to generate data entirely from scratch from a few examples, or to generate a safe synthetic version of your sensitive production data set that you cannot use because of regulations, privacy concerns. One of the modes that Gretel Navigator has is the data designer mode. And in this mode, you can create data sets from scratch, right? And so the first step is to define the data types, the data set schema, all the column-based instructions you would like to provide, and it gives you the ability to easily experiment with your data by generating previews. And finally, it allows you to scale to a production-ready data set with all the quality checks, ensuring the synthetic data can be used to train or fine-tune your small language models. And I will give you a demo about that capability next. Before I do, I also want to mention the the second mode that Gretel Navigator has, which is the fine-tune mode, and that allows you to train a synthetic data model on your data to create a secure, reliable synthetic variant of that data set that is tailored to your needs. So it handles a diverse range of data types, including numeric, categorical, text, and time series, all within a single model. It uses a transformer-based architecture that enhances both the fidelity and the performance of the synthetic data generated, which is crucial if you want to maintain the underlying statistical properties of the data sets. Privacy is paramount. So Navigator incorporates built-in differential privacy techniques that exceed standard de-identification methods, and it ensures that your synthetic data remains secure. So finally, also, we provide comprehensive evaluation reports to provide you with the confidence and the verification that the data has the level of quality you expect, but also the privacy and reliability there. So now that we covered these two modes of Navigator, I'll discuss the first one, create data from scratch, and I'll walk you through the entire process of generating synthetic data through design, preview, iterate, scale, and evaluate. And I'll hope I can show you how easy it actually is to create those data sets from scratch that you can use then to fine-tune models. So first step in our workflow is actually the design. So in this example, we would like to configure a synthetic data generation pipeline to generate a text-to-Python data set that we can use to fine-tune an LLM to improve their coding capabilities, let's say, in a particular domain. So what is shown here is the workflow configuration that Gretel Navigator will use in the generation process. So first, we address the licensing concerns up front. So we're defining the model suite to be Apache 2.0, which means that all the underlying models and agents that the synthetic data generation pipeline will use will comply to the Apache 2.0 license. We have other licenses as well, like a Llama license, so it will only use the Llama models there. You provide a special system instruction, so that is used as a general instruction through in the entire generation pipeline. In this case, we're telling the system we would like to have, high quality Python code, right? And then a third step is then defining the categorical seeds. So we seed the data by providing initial inputs. This helps to drive the synthetic data generation pipeline in the right direction and provide sufficient diversification here. So in this case, we're interested into text to Python specifically for the healthcare sector. Obviously, we can specify that further. Next, we also provide the dataset schema here. The dataset schema for this dataset is just 2 columns, a text and a corresponding code. So a prompt for a text-to-code dataset, and then the corresponding Python code we would like to generate for that particular query. Next, we also have post-processing valid steps, which is validators and evaluators. The validators make sure that the code that is generated is actually passing Python checks and has the semantic and syntactic quality you expect. And the evaluators as well are used to assess how well, let's say, the generation prompts, corresponds to the how the text corresponds to the code that is being generated, right? So this makes sure that we are generating high quality code, but that's also executable and can be used to fine tune your models in the next step. So then we go to the preview state here, where you can generate a sample data set. This allows you to assess key metrics such as data quality, validation results, subjective evaluations that are conducted by or built in LLM as a judge metric. And additionally, you'll see overall dataset statistics providing a comprehensive overview of this preview synthetic dataset that you generate. So this case, we only have 10 records, generated, but it allows you to further iterate on this data set in the next step. So here we can actually look at an individual record here. So you can see the seed columns here that just steer the generation of this record into a particular domain topic complexity level. Next, we have the data columns, which is the text query and the corresponding code. And then also we provide evaluation metrics, not only on the data set level, but also on the individual record level. So it allows you to, if you want to filter out certain records, you're able to do that. And so you can iterate on this. You can go back to the previous stage, make modifications to the configuration until you're happy about the result of this preview data set. And once once you're happy, you can basically scale it up. So this will actually allows you to submit a batch job to generate a large volume of records, and then Gretel Navigator will then kick off a workflow, and then finally produce a comprehensive report that examines the full data set based on various quality, diversity, and intrinsic and extrinsic metrics here. So this evaluation process gives you the confidence to verify that the synthetic data is reliable and ready to use to train your large language model. So to bring everything together now, let's move to a live demonstration of Gretel Navigator, and I'll walk you through the entire process, showcasing how you can design, preview, iterate, and scale and evaluate the synthetic data using our platform. So I'll go now to a notebook here, and so I hope you can see this. So for this demo here, we'll generate a synthetic multi-turn dialogue, right? So in the previous slide, I demonstrated how to create and configure a workflow for generating a text to Python dataset using Gretel Navigator. So the primary application there would be to fine-tune a language model for text to code capabilities for a specific domain. But yeah, it's more versatile like that. So in this case, we will generate a synthetic multi-turn dialogue between a user and an assistant. And that is a data set, for instance, that can be used to fine-tune LLMs that are powering customer support chatbots, virtual assistants, and interactive learning systems. So you can also use production data, which might be useful to fine-tune as well. But, production data might not cover all the scenarios, not all the scenarios that that could be seen are present in production data, or you also have privacy issues that you have with the production data. So creating synthetic data dialogues allows you to also improve those systems for situations that are you're not encountered yet in production. So in order to get started, we need to install the Gretel client here. And once installed, we load Gretel Navigator in the data designer mode. And I'll show you in the slides, that the entire workflow can be configured. That's as a YAML file. That's one option. The other option is to build this data set workflow up through the SDK. And that is this more interactive way I'm going to show right now. So the first thing to do is, selecting the model suite. So as I said, we are supporting multiple model suites. We're adding more small model suites on the go. We have Llama. We have also introduced the recently announced Amazon Nova models as a model suite. And but in this case, we're going to use the Apache 2.0 suite here. Next, I'm going to provide system-wide instructions, just as I mentioned in earlier. In this case, we're instructing Navigator to act as a conversational designer and domain specialist to produce realistic user assistant dialogue along with some constraints. Once I do that, I initialize the data designer object here. So with the model suite, with special instructions here. For this, I need to grab my API key. So I'm going here to the Gretel console, fetch my API key, go back to the notebook and paste the API key. and we should be good to go. Next step is to specify the seed columns. In this case, we're going to define domains like tech support, personal financing, educational guidance. We want to have, conversational data around that. And we're also specifying for each of these domains some subcategories. Like, for instance, for the domains tech support, troubleshooting a laptop is one of the subcategories there. Now, what's really cool with Gretel Navigator is that we can tell the system that we instead of 3 subcategories per domain, we can tell it to generate 2 more. So we have like 5 topics per domain, and we can also ask it to add 5 more domains. So it will finally generate seeds that are in total 8 different domains with 5 topics each. So the system intelligently generates these relevant domains and topics based on the input, and it will understand which domains and topics you want based on the example and the instructions you give here. Another seed column we would like to add is complexity. So imagine this conversational could be a user can ask a simple question or a more complex question. So we would like to have that diversity as well in the data set according to the different complexity levels. So once we, let me run this cell here. Once we have generated a seed, we then going to generate the dataset structure. And in this case, it will be a 2-turn conversation between a user and a assistant. The user will then follow up on the assistant message, and then the assistant will respond back. So we're having a conversation with 4 columns. Or dataset with 4 columns, because the conversation is like a 2-turn, 2-way conversation. So once I have that, I would like to add 1 more column, and I just want to make sure that the conversations that we synthetically generate don't have any toxicity here. So we're going to add this column here, and in this case, we're adding LLM type as a LLM type or judge model here. So bigger model here, we just want to have additional layer of security there, and it will just scan the entire conversation. We want to make sure there's no toxic content here. So once we have, built up the workflow like that, I can now generate a dataset preview. So this is all going live, right? So you can see that the datasets are generated, the seeds are generated, the columns are generated. First, we have the user message, the assistant response, the user follow-ups to the assistant message, assistant response, and then finally, we are creating this additional column, which is the toxicity labels here. So once that data set is generated, I can, show the data frame here. You can see, the 3 first columns are, the data seeds. We have the columns representing the dialogue between the user and the assistant. And then finally, we have a toxicity label here. In this case, we're all good. There is no toxic content, discovered in each of these conversations. I can also peek in an individual record here. So this is, the categorical seeds. And here you can see one of these records here that's also in the data frame where you can see the user, user, and assistant conversation here. So I can iterate on this, but in this case, I'm happy what I'm seeing, and I can now submit, let's say, a batch of 1,000 records. So now this will send to the, the Gretel API, and we can now go to our Gretel console, and we can actually see that this workflow is kicked off. So if each of these steps here is, let's say, a different agent, and this will now generate this workflow to generate these 1,000 records of the dataset. I have already run this before, and you can see now this is how it looks like in our console. All these different steps have been generated. For each of these steps, you can look at the log, look at the progress here. So yeah, this is basically how a compound AI system for the purpose here of generating synthetic data. Just want to scroll down at the bottom of these data sets here where I have run this already. So once I have generated or kicked off, when the workflow is complete, I can then fetch my data frame, and then, I have my large data frame here with all these synthetic conversations. I can push this through Hugging Face. I can use this to fine tune my model. So in just a matter of few steps, and in minutes, I can basically create an entire data set from scratch, and specify it to the needs that I want to have here. So with that, that concludes basically the demo. So going back to the slides here. So thank you for joining, and I hope this session was useful. I invite everyone to sign up for a Gretel account and try out Gretel Navigator platform. This data designer mode that I was showing here is currently in early preview, and we're continuously adding more capabilities there, including user interface for building these data sets, so you can talk to that in a chat experience. And I'm excited to see what you can create with these data sets for training your language model. So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin. Can't recommend Gretel enough. You should definitely give it a try. We've had a lot of fun partnering with them and using them at Predabase. Or maybe one quick question before we switch over. Someone asked about generating data sets that are relational in nature, such as one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many with enforced keys. Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, that's on our roadmap as well. Currently, we're doing one-by-one records without this relational, but it's definitely on our roadmap. Many customers have been asking for this as well, to create relational data sets from scratch where multiple tables are linked. So it's not capable of doing it yet, but it's on a roadmap to support that.
Yeah, very cool. I haven't heard about that yet. And I saw you guys are doing, is it true there's image support as well? Did I see that in a blog?
That's another. We have been working on image support, but we have been focusing more on text time series tabular metrics right now. We definitely would like to move in image synthetics as well, but it's the user demand, or the biggest demand we're seeing
For
right
sure.
now is around generating LLMs.
We see the same thing at Predabase. Text reigns supreme. Um, well, thank
Ex-
you again, Martin. A lot of great stuff going on with Gretel, and again, encourage everyone to give it a try. We've had incredible success using them